Welcome back to the Jackson Municipal podcast series. We have Emon Thompson of Ward 6 in the building. Emon, I'm going to get to the first question. What life experiences have shaped the way you lead and make decisions?
Well, I grew up a grandmama's boy, and I can remember when my great grandmother used to send me to the store and get her Sprite, drinking her snuff, and I always enjoyed being around here because being around her because I always enjoyed serving. I believe with all my heart, I know with all my heart that I was called to serve. I've been in the church all my life and I've been the one that break up the fights, and I'm the one that bring people together, and I just always have served the community regardless of my position, age. I was always in a servant position. I was voted friendliest in my high school all 4 years. I was in. I started working for McDonald's when I was in junior high. I was the first assistant when I graduated from high school. When I came to Jackson, I had my own store. Started in Weston. Then I came to Jackson and started working for Mr. Walker. So my church, I just always knew that my calling is to serve people. You know, and so I don't want to be too long on the question, but I just knew it from the beginning, and all my life I have been serving the community.
When was the last time you had to admit you were wrong about something, and how did you handle it?
Well, um, I was talking to my son-in-law, and well, now, he's not my son-in-law yet, but he's my daughter's boyfriend. And I was telling him that sometimes we think we're right. My wife have told me a few things, and of course, you being the man, I don't always see it then, you know. And so sometimes for certain men, some men, it's hard for you to go back to your wife and say you sorry. So she says things here and there, and I, you know, pull my pants up a little bit. But the thing about it is when you take the opportunity to realize that you're wrong, regardless of who it is, regardless of what it is, as a man and a man of God, you're supposed to always go back and ask for for them to forgive you, and you have to do whatever you make it right. I mean, there's been so many times I can't remember one specifically where I actually done something wrong and then go back and uh and try to fix it. But that's the thing. If I know you got a problem with me and I know I didn't did nothing to you, or I probably did, I'm the first one to go back. That's one thing about my wife and I. If even if we get into it for any reason, I'm the first one. I always want to go back and make it right. So that's just me. I can't stand it. I can't keep that in me because it pulls me down. So I have to get it out so I can be light again.
Who in your life has had the biggest impact on your values and the way you see the world?
I would say my mom. Um, my mom had me when she was 15 years old, and uh, and so we were more like brothers and sisters, you know. But she always told me that you can do anything you want to do, son. She was my biggest cheerleader. My dad was normally the person who would tell me what I couldn't do, and all that kind of stuff. I'm gonna never be nothing. But my mom always had faith in me, even though when I didn't have no faith in myself. She said, "Son, that you can do it." So still today, my mom is my biggest cheerleader, and I always admire her for being a big part. She's my girl. That's my girl right there. So she's been my biggest inspiration in my life. And I will also say, I've been with my wife for 33 years, longer than my mom. And I don't think I would be the person I am today without God blessing me to be with her and with her continuing to form me to the man. I mean, she pushes me, she encourages me, but without her in my life, I don't think I'd be the man I am today. That's why she's my campaign manager.
What's a challenge you face that changed the way you approach problem solving?
Well, when the challenges I face is when I feel like that people don't care. You know what I'm saying? And you can look at South Jackson, you can look at the blight, and it makes you feel like that nobody cares. But I care about what I see. I care about senior citizens who homes are not together, that holes in their windows. Their loved ones, children live in other states, and they're barely uh, making it by. And so that right there encourages me to be a problem solver, to be a fixer. My field is technology, and uh, and I'm a very religious person. And a lot of times I get a situation where I really don't understand what to do or what's wrong. And God will always, I just get comfort to know, just let me go to bed. God will reveal it to me. He always reveal it to me in dreams. So my mind automatically goes to fixing problem when it's presented. It's not like what I'm hearing now with all the candidates that's coming behind me. Everybody can state what's wrong. You know, this we Jackson need ever since I got in the race, I've been looking for solutions. I've been talking to my legislature. I've been talking to the directors of these department heads, and they really have all the answers. So my goal is to um, continue to do problem solving. That's what you got to be a good problem solver in order for us to fix this city.
If you weren't running for office, what's something you would still be doing to help your community?
Helping my community. I mean, I'm the HOA president for Brooklee for the past 8 years. I take care of my senior citizens. Um, I'm a minister, elder at my church. I'm over our media department. I'm over uh, our welcome center. I'm the director of our veterans department. Serving is all I've ever done. And I laid in my bed and I was telling God, when Jesus was on the cross and Jesus looked up to heaven and said, Father, take this cup away from me. I don't want this position if God don't want me to have this position because I couldn't do it without him. Because when you look at it, I mean, it's not like we make a whole lot of money and I'm already strung out, and so um, I want to make sure this is what I know for a fact it is. And I'm telling all my opponents out there, you might well just take a rest because I know this is my time.
What inspired you to run for city council, and what's the first issue you want to tackle if elected?
The biggest thing that inspired me to be city council is because I felt like that we wasn't totally represented by the councilman that we have now. I understand the importance of being a voice for the people, being there for the people. So all the things that I was doing as a HOA president, I'm always at City Hall fighting for what we need. I'm always holding people accountable for what they said that they was going to do for us. So to me, it's just a little step forward, giving me a little bit more teeth. So now I can definitely make sure that things that were promised to us are done. And so uh, that's what have always driven me, is to be that person to step up and step out for people, regardless of what the consequences are. I mean, I was called to step up and be an advocate for the people that wasn't fortunate like me.
If you had to make tough budget decisions, how would you prioritize spending to make sure that the people of Jackson get the services they need?
Well, first of all, I believe in us taking care of the most needed areas, the needing area, and that's South Jackson. I mean, when you come past Highway 8 and start going south, I mean, it's bad. And so for so long we've been neglected. I mean, whether we had a seat on the school board or whether we had a seat on the city planning board, Jackson been neglected, and so my goal is to make sure that if there's any funds that can be allocated towards what we're going to do, I'm going to be jumping up and screaming and hollering to say, hey, South Jackson. Not only that, I'm going to participate in using other opportunities like grant writing and different things like that. Unifying the churches. I'm an elder, and so I know a lot of pastors, and I'm looking forward to getting with them and let us come together and fund some of the things that we want to do in South Jackson, like getting rid of blight, buying some of these properties, and let's put money together and fix them up and give it to some of our members to rebuild the community. This is my goal: to rebuild the community one street at a time. That's my goal.
How will you stay connected with the community and make sure people feel heard even after election season is over?
I have learned a lot of my skills, which I've already been a communication type guy. Used to work. I work for communications at my church. Uh, God has blessed me with a lot of talents. I'm a tech guy. Social media. We do social media a lot. We do newsletters, digital. Like now, you don't have to print the newsletters anymore. You can do them digitally and hear the page flip and all of that. So that way. But my biggest thing I'm going to do is have Ward 6 task force. and I'm going to have one for each area of the ward: north, south, east, and west. And it's a group of people made up of pastors, senior citizens, youth, um, uh, uh, owners of jobs, and just a array of people that are there to hold me accountable for what I'm supposed to do. But not only that, to make sure that I'm doing what I'm supposed to do for that area. So I can't be over the whole ward at one time, and so I'm holding my task force accountable to make sure I know what's going on. If it ain't something going on in your neighborhood, you haven't told me, that ain't my problem. That's yours because you ain't letting me know. I can't be everywhere at the same time. So my task force are not going to meet regularly, maybe once a month. It may not be the whole group, a few representatives from each group, and then we're going to have our quarterly town homes for me to hear everybody as a group. Right now I'm working on a website called ward6taskforce.com, and so this is a place where people can communicate me at any time. This is a place where they can go in and put potholes and fill out the form, and they can let me know where a blighted property is, all online. You can go find jobs. You can go list your businesses. If you've got a lot, all of that is going to be held on this website. That's going to benefit everybody in Ward 6.
How will you support the jobs and businesses that are already in Jackson?
The first thing I want to do is to visit all the businesses that we have in South Jackson right now, the ones that's struggling, the one that's hanging on, and I'm going to give them my assurance that I'm going to be there for them. You know what I'm saying? And so the first thing I want to do is take inventory, which I've been doing, of all the property around them that hasn't been burned or something like that. And I want to talk to the owners of these properties and let them know the situation, which most of them probably already do, of South Jackson, and get them to work out deals for me to be able to offer to somebody who want to come to South Jackson. Get the city to give us some incentives, get the property owner to give them 6 months free of rent, or even if the property really not up to par, give them a year or 2 year off not paying rent and let them fix it up. So my goal is to, number one, assure the people that are there that I'm with them. If you got any problem with people breaking in, let me know. Just don't make a decision to leave without letting me know. And I'm going to be there to help you stay there, and I'm going to be there to help you bring other businesses around you that enhances your business. I believe in certain businesses being in certain places. I want to put businesses together that complement each other. So that's my goal, is to go out and find these people. Say, hey, come out here. I got some property for you, and I can get you in this property. You ain't got to pay nothing for 6 months, and you need to be right here. But that business is going to complement that business, and that's why I want to rebuild South Jackson.
What do you think the biggest challenge is when it comes to crime and infrastructure in Jackson, and how do you plan to be a part of the solution?
Crime, I think, is bad. It's sad when we have our own senior citizens getting killed in their own home. It's sad that we can't go to sleep at night because people are coming in our driveways, breaking in our cars. But when it comes to crime, our biggest issue is our young people. You know, we ain't got a lot of old people out there, but most of these people, most of the individuals who are doing crime is the young kids from 12 to 18, 19. And what I feel is the problem is that they don't have mentors like I did when I was coming up. They want the same thing we wanted when we was coming up. They want to get their shoes, they want to get their game, but we don't have any opportunities for them. We need more mentors, and you don't have to have a business to be a mentor. You can have a lawn care service, or you can just hang out with them to put values in them. We got to do more to support our youth. I mean, it ain't nothing really that they can do in the city but hang out with people with negative influence and have them ending up doing some things that they were not supposed to do. Infrastructure wise, I mean, we got some bad streets out there. First of all, we got to find out where they are, know where they are, which I know where a lot of them are because I've been, keeping up with them. But we need to have alliances like with our county. One of the areas and I competed in the 2023 race for supervisor for District 4. And when I didn't make it through the primaries, uh, and she did, I I helped her full steam ahead. As hard as I was working for me, I started working for her. And so because of that, and I think everybody should do that. Because of that, one and I, Miss Evers and I, are the best of friends. I'm not even a councilman yet. And all I have to do is call Miss Wanda. Hey, Miss Wanda, it's a pothole. Hey, Miss Wanda, it's a hanging limb. Within 2, 3 days, she got it done. And so that's something that we didn't do while we was while we When the other administration, we don't communicate, we don't work together. I'm gonna talk to Ronnie Crudup and Senator Blunt about opportunities that we can use to make sure South Jackson get a little bit more opportunity to get our streets and fixed. But the biggest thing is when we have these council meetings, we have to stand up for South Jackson. We can't sit there and be quiet. I'm tired of looking at all of these other councilmen have, their properties dilapidated, broken down, and got two or three properties in South Jackson. They ain't got but one that's in the cul-de-sac, and every last one of them in the cul-de-sac need to be torn down. And so we have to speak up. I have to speak up if I have to get firm or whatever to make sure that we get everything we need to make sure we get our streets fixed, and we need to do something to get these young people busy.
What specific policies or ordinances do you plan to introduce or advocate for that will directly benefit the residents of Jackson, and how do you plan to gain support for them?
Well, one of the things that I'm looking at is two things, and I'm gonna do the first one that's not so controversial. South Jackson has a lot of issues with dilapidated properties that belongs to the state. And my goal is to work with our representative, Ronald Crudup, and my senator, David Blunt, who we've already been discussing how we can make this work. If the city wanted the state property back, all they have to do is ask them for it. And the county, and the state will give it back to them. So my goal is to do whatever I can to get the state to take care of their property. In other words, clean it off. Then once they clean it off, give it back to us. I want to find some investors who's willing to come back and put manufactured homes. We can't put mobile homes anymore; they're outlawed. But you can put manufactured homes. And I'm on the city planning board, so we approve for manufactured homes to be in Jackson. A manufactured home is just like a house. It only costs $160,000 to get a manufactured home. So my goal is to bring in these investors and say, hey, this whole street is yours. It's cleaned off. Go at it. We don't want no renters now. There's a place for rent. I think renters need to live in an apartment complex, but I'm talking about families, married families with kids. They need their own place. And we want to get in there and teach them how to be good property owners, good homeowners. We're going to teach them how to budget. We're going to make sure their budget fits what they're trying to do so they can be successful business owners. So the first thing I want to do is to come up with a way to deal with these blighted properties. If a property burn, I would like to change the policy where we give people anywhere between 90 plus days, but realistically 90 days. Your house can't sit there a whole year before you decide to figure out what you're going to do with it. I can understand if you're waiting on your insurance to pay it off, but what I'm finding out is these houses that burn down, they belong to Grandmama Susie or my auntie who's passed, and the children or family have access to that house. They're renting the homes out. Once that happens, they just take the insurance money and leave it there. So my goal is to rewrite policy where they have a specific amount of days to get that taken care of. And if you got some underlying issues that's preventing you from doing it, just come talk to us. We'll work with you. We can't have these blighted properties staying around all this time. These business owners, these folks just letting everything grow up. We don't use the laws that we have to enforce the ordinances. We already got the stuff on the book to do it. So my goal is to put some teeth to it, make them a little more, expensive or demanding to make sure that we get this city cleaned up. The other thing I want to do is I love the homeless. I love the homeless. And I see what they're trying to do, kick them out, make them move. I've been on the board of Jackson Resource Center with Miss Thomas White. And I've had my own nonprofit, Daybreak, downtown a few years ago, where we provided a place for the homeless to come during the daytime. We help them find jobs. We help the veterans get hooked up to Veteran Affairs. If they had some illnesses, mental illness, we got them some treatment. So that was very good. But, I don't like panhandling. I don't like panhandling. Most of the guys that stand outside the street are regular guys. That's what they do. That's all they're going to do. I've driven Uber and Lyft. I know that's all they do. They be here one day. They got shifts. You know what I'm saying? I see him coming meeting and he tag him. Now he's on the corner. I don't like panhandling. If somebody come up here and ask my wife for something, I'm gonna go off. You man asking my wife for something, but there are some people out there that didn't want to be where they are. They had some misfortunate things in their life that cause them to be there. Well, those people, may end up panhandling and say, "Hey, come in. Let's talk to you. Let's get you hooked up with Mr. Thompson's wife. Let's find out what you need. If you got any mental issues." And those I feel like that are really homeless, then I think that they will be welcome. They're going to be excited to get that help. But the ones that don't, I think we're going to have to put a little fire up under them. My goal is to give them a hand up instead of a handout all the time. We got all these nonprofit organizations trying to get more money to help the homeless. Well, at some point, these homeless people got to give back. But why don't you go volunteer for this organization? Why don't you go take the trash out every day? Why don't you cut the grass? Everybody them. It's it's become a profession for some of these people, and Jackson has become the mecca for homelessness. You know, people from other surrounding cities, they bring their people here because they know the resources are here. You know what I'm saying? You ain't gonna go find these homeless individuals panhandling in Pearl and Rankin County and Madison. You're not gonna see that. So they bring their less fortunate people to us because they know that we have services for them. So we got to vet these homeless people, sit them down, put them in the system. We just help you over here. Now you're going over there to get the same thing. Have them in a system, and they have to be have an idea of whatever it takes to get them in the system. And Jackson Resource Center already has this system where they can put them in there, and the nonprofit organization can buy a subscription for a small amount of money to pay for the software. The software is very expensive, but everybody's tapping into the same system. So when Johnny come up, you can go put, "Oh, Johnny, you've been down there to stew pot. Oh, they've already did this for you, or you've done that." We got to hold them accountable because it's not going to ever get any better if we don't start encouraging them to come back on the other side. So I want to do policies to enforce the rules that we already have on the book against panhandling, put a little bit more teeth to them, not to push them away, but demand that they try to do better. Some of them can. They got mental issues, but the one that's got mental issues, let's give them some help. You know what I'm saying? But they got to do better. I want to rewrite the policy, put more teeth to dealing with this panhandling. I know we got limited space for put them in jail, but let's have a facilities that we take these guys somewhere. Teach them principles and teach them how to. You got to go there. That's no choice. You do this. Let me go teach you something where you can feed your own self. So that's some of the stuff I'm looking at.
With the city's budget constraints, how do you plan to ensure that resources are allocated efficiently while maintaining essential services and addressing community needs?
Well, the first thing we need to work on is economic development. We got to clean up. You know what I'm saying? There's not too many companies that want to come to Jackson the way it is. We got to change our leadership. There's companies that want to come here, but we got certain people in leadership that they can't work with. Number one, because they can't work with nobody else. There's companies and individuals right now wanting to help Jackson, but we got certain people in the wrong place that they can't get along with. They can't have a relationship with no one. So my goal is to see what we have to do to bring in more economic development. My goal, because I know certain funds are funding, certain funds are available for certain wars. I do know that they give this war. I'm going to make sure we're there to speak up for South Jackson. I'm going to make sure that monies that are allotted for us don't get allotted nowhere else. I'm just going to make sure that we're not going to get left out. We're going to try to get some grant writers. Mr. Walker, that's running against me in Ward 6. I mean, all these skill sets he had, I told him personally, you need to be the public works director and all these grants. I said, "Oh, you better not say that because as soon as I get in this seat, I'm coming to you and go after funding, not just from the federal government, but nonprofit organizations to get funds to deal specifically with the problem that we're having in South Jackson."
What strategies will you implement to ensure transparency in your decision making?
Well, one thing I'm going to do is to lean on my task force members. Uh, I can recall when Aaron Banks got in office the second term, and he started a task force, and we had an opportunity to listen to his plan before he even, got it out there. For us as constituents to be able to tell him, no, that ain't gonna fly. We got to fix that a little bit. My goal is to use my task force to make sure that I'm thinking level amongst all groups, whether it be the churches, whether it be the youth, and all of that. And I'm looking forward to them helping me make the right decisions. I don't know all the answers. I don't think I ever know all the answers, but when I put talk to this pastor and talk to this sister and talk to these youth, we're gonna come up with the solutions together. So my goal is to make sure that I keep these task force whole and make sure that they do their part by holding me accountable, by helping me come up with the solutions that we need for this city.
What is your vision for economic growth and job creation in Jackson?
Well, I have to start by looking at my area. Um, we have a pretty much land and property in South Jackson. But what I want to do is I want to keep South Jackson as a low lying place that you can come relax, kick your feet up. Let all these big factories and stuff go here, go there, different parts of Jackson. But we want South Jackson to be a place where you can come. You ain't got to worry about no police. You ain't got to worry about no sirens and all this other stuff. But I like to welcome mom and pop shops back. We was hooray for Walmart, but look at what Walmart done in our neighborhoods. You know what I'm saying? Mom and pop shops where we can go buy some dresses for this store. We got this lady that got all these uh, uh, creams and stuff that helps people. My goal is to bring small restaurants, where you can go get you a chicken on a stick or something like that. Small businesses is the key. You know what I'm saying? Of course, we got other areas of the state that has the big businesses, but I want people, now that we are in this situation with our new president, you got to put your thinking hat on, and God is depending on us to use the skills that He put in all of us to make a living for us and also provide products and resources that we can provide to others. So I want to, number one, I mentioned before, is to make sure I'm very much aware of all the property that's available. You know what I'm saying? Somebody come and I hear somebody look. Right now, I heard Aldi is trying to get into Jackson. I'm trying to find whoever I need to talk to. Hey, Mr. Aldi, we need you to come out here to South Jackson. So that's my goal. When I hear of new businesses coming in or wanting to come in, I'm gonna be on the front lines there. Say, hey, come on out here in South Jackson. Let me show you something. We got a building here, a building there, and we really need you. Do whatever I can to attract anything out there for us to make sure that our youth have something to do. Even our senior citizens, they get tired of sitting around the house all day. They don't want to go to Walmart all the time and stand up and do whatever. They are still talented. Retired schools teachers, retired whatever. These folks want to keep living, and so they want to get out there and do something. I want to find opportunities for them too to get out and do some of the things that they want to do.
How do you plan to address key issues such as crime reduction, infrastructure improvements, and overall public safety to enhance the quality of life for
Yeah.
residents?
The first thing I want to do is make sure I support my police chief. He's my police chief. Now you can say he's yours, but I know he's my police chief, Chief Wade. I think he has the heart. I think he loves the people. I know in the past that we had some issues getting technology. I know we got the real crime center now. And recently, in one of the past council meetings I was at, we finally approved for them to get some of the same technology that all the other cities around us are using, like tag readers. I know we got some tag readers, but face recognition software is what we approved at that time. I say we, I was there for him to get this technology. I want to encourage the chief of police to enhance our community policing by making sure these police officers get out. We need to know our beat officers personally. Oh, we need to be addressing them by first name or last name. They need to be addressing us because if we feel comfortable with them, then we're going to help them solve some crime. But right now, if you call the police and tell them report something, they liable to go to somebody else's house that you reported and go looking for you. I've had that happen to me. As an HOA president, I've called them because I'm having issues with this person or this house. They go to that house. We're looking for Mr. Thompson. He had a problem. So I've heard it over and over and over again where they call the police because something is going on with that house bothering me, and they end up going to the wrong house and putting their lives in danger, telling them who told on them. You know what I'm saying? And so that's why the community is nowhere close to want to work with the police officers. So if we can get those police officers out there, make sure they come to our community events, make sure when everybody out on their porch and stuff like that, park their car. Go sit down on the porch with some of our citizens and let us get to know you. Where are you from? What made you want to be a police officer? And so we feel comfortable with them then we're going to be willing to trust them with the information we see without feeling like the stuff I'm sharing with you could take my life out and could cause retaliation against me. So community policing, we need to work on that. And we just need to hold our police officers accountable. If you don't care about the people, you don't need to be on the force. You need to follow the rules, follow the law. If you get caught doing something you ain't got no business, we already Jackson already at the bottom. We need to deal with that. We just don't need to hang on to bad people just because we don't have enough police officers. If they're doing something that they don't need to be doing, they need to be dealt with. The people has to trust. We have to trust the police department. They supposed to protect and serve. We need them to protect and serve. When we call them, we want them there, not somebody coming from a precinct way up north, way down south, and me having to wait 45 minutes for somebody in my neighborhood threatening to shoot me. You know what I'm saying? I would have been dead and gone. And that happens a lot in South Jackson. So we need to make sure that we get enough police officers to make sure that we can deal with these calls, these emergency calls. We need to be able to trust our police officers.
Okay. Is there anything that we didn't address that you want the people to know before we close out?
I want to address um, the number of people who get in these races that don't have experience. I had somebody tell me, I heard this from Mr. Delano Funches, one of his um, mayoral debates. He said, if you want to know what somebody's going to do when they get into office, look at what. If you want to know what they're going to do when they get in office, look at what they're already doing. A lot of people in certain parts of town, like McDowell Road area and stuff like that, they really don't know a lot about me. I've been working in the city for years, working with every school we've been in. We brought PTSA back to Wingfield. My wife and I worked for Wingfield all the way to the end, you know. And so we were so faithful to Wingfield, most of the people used to think I worked for Wingfield. My principal gave me a key, and I'm just a regular citizen to come and go as I want to. I was involved with going with my principal from how we got these students wasn't showing up. We physically would go to their house and find some sad situations and understand now why they're not coming. So that's why we work with him to develop programs on Saturdays and late evenings for the kids that's got to work. There's nobody in the house to work. He's taking care of mama, taking care of grandmama. So we had enough compassion to go to them in their community. So I want the people to know you need to verify people's experience. You can't go to a meeting one time and say you've been working with them forever. You ain't been to the meeting this nonprofit organization one or two times. So really check out people's experience. Let's talk to people about their experience. What have you done? What have you done in this area? What are you doing now? And I guarantee you, when you start asking those questions, you're gonna find out quickly who the person is that's qualified to be in that seat.
Any other last words?
I just want to thank the people who have supported me financially. I want to thank the citizens that have prayed for me. I want to thank the citizens who have encouraged me to go forward. The one that told me that they're going to be with me now and they're going to be with me then. Uh, those that um, think I'm Benny Thompson. I am not Benny Thompson. I've heard that over and over and over again. My name is Emon Thompson. I may look like Benny. I'm not related to Benny, but I'm not Benny Thompson. I don't have any problem with Benny. I like him representing us where he is, but I'm not Benny. You know what I'm saying? So I've had people in some of my texts that I sent out tell me that they won't vote for me because I've been in office already long enough. It's time for me to let somebody else do something. So all of my white constituents, Emon Thompson is not Benny Thompson. He's not my father. I'm not his son. And so that's why I'm asking you to vote for me to get in the seat. I'm going to work hard for the citizens. I want you to hold me accountable. This is not my my part-time job. This is my full-time job. I don't see how anybody work every day, 7 days a week, and hold a regular job and going to do the work that needs to be done in South Jackson. I'm committed to it full time. I thank God that I've been blessed to be self-employed. I thank God that I've been blessed to be a veteran. I thank God that I've been blessed to have a wife that supports her husband and her family. We got all our kids gone. We got all the money we need. I'm going to work full time for the citizens of Jackson. When you call Ward 6, when you call me, I'm there. I'm not going to have to wait to ask my boss to get off work. I'm not going to have to say I'm going to come see you tomorrow. I'm going to get there as fast as I can to make sure that I serve and do what I promised to do before I get in the seat and when I get in the seat. That's it.
I appreciate you. Make sure you guys go out and vote April 1st. Thank you very much for tuning in.